A routine small claims hearing turned explosive live on. Judge Mathis TV, when the no-nonsense Judge Greg Mathis entered cross-examination. Mode with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a move viewers quickly described as a trap. Mathis pressed Crockett on campaign finances and private sector connections. Framing his questions as routine, but carrying an unmistakable undertone of confrontation, Crockett, known for her legislative grit, didn't flinch. Calm, measured, and commanding. She methodically dismantled the implications laid before her, exposing that the alleged problem was not misconduct, but standard procedure in her district. Within moments, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. What Mathis intended as pressure turned into a showcase of Crockett's poise and transparency. Asterisk. As Mathis probed deeper, suggesting she'd used insider influence for personal advantage, Crockett responded with clarity and confidence. She cited public records, legislative tracking documents, and even voter testimonials to validate her integrity. Each move he made to corner her only magnified her preparation and unflappable demeanor. The courtroom, expecting tension and drama, instead witnessed a masterclass in political counter-questioning. Mathis's tone shifted from probing to perplexed. As Crockett's calm dismantling of the insinuations gained the upper hand in real time, asterisk viewers watching live sensed the turning point when Crockett asked Mathis directly, "Is this about the trial or the story you're trying to tell?" In that moment, control visibly shifted. Mathis hesitated, visibly off balance. Crockett leaned forward and continued, "I elected to serve my constituents when not in Congress. I fight on the ground. Your assumptions hold no weight here." The audience murmured approval, and the social media firestorm had already begun. With clips circulating before the segment ended, asterisk, behind the scenes, producers knew they hadn't planned for this dynamic. Instead of a performative exchange, the segment quickly became a demonstration of Crockett's accountability and command. While Mathis had intended to expose chinks in her armor, Crockett turned the spotlight back on broader issues: transparency. In legislation, public service, and policy making that touches real lives, what started as an attempt to corner a guest reshaped into a powerful showcase of authenticity. Asterisk, within minutes of the on-air confrontation, social platforms exploded. Hashtags like hashtag flip the script, hashtag respect her records, and hashtag Crockett confidence trended widely. Pundits and journalists praised her composure, contrasting how Mathis had underestimated her experience in legislative scrutiny. Many commentators saw the confrontation as emblematic of a broader moment when women of color and authority refused to be cornered by assumptions and instead demand accountability from the interrogators themselves. Asterisk analysis panels soon took up the moment, with media watchdogs, legal experts, and political commentators weighing in. Some praised Judge Mathis's probing spirit, calling it journalistic instincts at work. Others pointed out that his tactic backfired spectacularly in the face of a guest prepared not just with facts but with moral clarity. Meanwhile, Attorney General-level figures referenced the exchange and discussions of courtroom fairness and public narratives, highlighting how Crockett's turn from defendant to empowered narrator offered a powerful lesson. Asterisk, by the end of the day, Congresswoman Crockett was being invited to interviews and panels to speak on both the case and her response. She reframed the moment not as a partisan clash, but as a teachable episode on transparency, public accountability, and the resilience required to serve in high-pressure roles. Judge Mathis, while still respected, admitted later in a post-episode interview that she turned the case in her own favor without raising her voice, acknowledging that he had underestimated her preparedness. Asterisk, the trial flip moment had lasting impact. Legislative watchdogs referenced it when praising Crockett's ethics. Media training workshops used it as a model for how to handle hostile questioning. Even Harvard law discussion groups ripped into the clip, debating courtroom dynamics and the shifting power balance. When an interviewee refuses to cede narrative control, Crockett emerged, not just unscathed, but celebrated. Asterisk, ultimately, the showdown served as a masterclass in legal and rhetorical skill under pressure. Judge Mathis intended to trap a guest, possibly expose something contentious, but instead found that he'd presented cinematic fodder for Crockett's integrity. She didn't just survive the segment, she rewrote its script entirely. In a media age hungry for viral moments, her composed response became proof that preparation, poise, and poise alone can append assumptions, and that no trap is truly effective. When the person inside it knows their record, asterisk in the days following the broadcast, national discourse intensified. Political analysts pointed to the Crockett-Mathis exchange as a defining moment not just in media appearances, but in the ongoing evolution of public political engagement. Commentators from both sides of the aisle acknowledged the magnitude of what had occurred. A sitting congresswoman, confronted with veiled accusations on national television, had reversed the tide without aggression, scandal, or spin. Crockett's tool was truth delivered with the quiet authority of someone who'd lived it. Meanwhile, Judge Mathis, typically seen as a sharp yet fair adjudicator, faced rare criticism for letting his approach feel more like ambush than inquiry. Editorials in major outlets drew attention to the blurred line between accountability and accountability and a spectacle, suggesting that while Mathis's intentions may have been rooted in rigor, the outcome inadvertently amplified the credibility of his guest. By now, classroom debates and political media literacy programs were already weaving this episode into case studies, not for the drama it presented, but for the enduring lesson it offered in an era of viral sound bites and strategic takedowns. Authenticity remains a formidable and unshakable defense. Asterisk. As the story continued to ripple across the airwaves and digital platforms, Jasmine Crockett's composure and rhetorical precision became emblematic of a new breed of public servant, one who refuses to be boxed in by media traps or partisan theatrics. Clips of her measured but powerful clapback to Judge Mathis dominated social media feeds, inspiring a wave of commentary, reaction videos, and even academic discussion. Political pundits marveled at her ability to neutralize the situation without stooping to hostility, turning what could have been a reputational ambush into a masterclass in communication. Meanwhile, Judge Mathis's team issued a brief statement attempting to reframe the encounter as a spirited exchange, though many viewers were already drawing their own conclusions. Supporters of Crockett hailed her as a symbol of resilience and grace under pressure, with hashtags trending across platforms celebrating her intellectual command and unwavering calm. In the end, the moment stood not as a mark of controversy, but as a defining testament to the power of preparation, truth, and unapologetic self-assurance in a world increasingly built on spectacle. Asterisk. The aftermath of the courtroom clash saw Jasmine Crockett propelled into an unexpected spotlight, no longer just a sharp legal mind or rising political voice, but now a cultural phenomenon. Cable news shows dissected every nuance of the exchange with Judge Mathis, while late-night comedians joked that she'd flipped the courtroom like a chessboard. But beneath the viral fame was a deeper resonance. Young viewers especially, women of color, took to social media to express how seen and empowered they felt by Crockett's unapologetic stance. Interviews flooded in, yet she declined many, choosing instead to let the moment speak for itself, a calculated move that only deepened public respect. Judge Mathis, once known for his commanding presence, found himself on the defensive, his typical courtroom dominance momentarily eclipsed. Political analysts noted that Crockett's response wasn't just about defending herself. It was about challenging an entire tone of discourse that underestimated her intellect and resolve. What had begun as a tense televised moment became a cultural pivot, where one woman's refusal to back down set a new standard for how power is challenged and redefined on a national stage.